जय राधा माधव जय कुंज बिहारी राधा माधव जय कुंज बिहारी गोपी जन वल्लभ जय गिरिवर धारी गोपी जन वल्लभ जय गिरिवर धारी यशोदानंदन जय व्रज जन रंजना जय यशोदानंदन जय व्रज जन रंजना जय जमुना तीरा वनचारी जय कुंज बिहारी जय जमुना तीरा वनचारी जय कुंज बिहारी जय राधा माधव जय कुंज बिहारी गोपी जन वल्लभ जय गिरिवर धारी यशोदा नंदन जय व्रज जन रंजना जय यशोदानंदन जय व्रज जन रंजना जय जमुना वनचारि जय कुंज बिहारी। Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Everyone. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Lord Hari Bol. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Jayo Radha, Madan Gopal Radha, Madan Gopal Radhe. Jayo Radhe, Jayo Radhe, Jayo Radhe, Jayo Shri Radhe. Jayo Gauranitai, 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 Jayo Gauranitai. Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Jai Jai Prabhupada. Nitai Gaur, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur, Hari Bol. जय श्री हरिनाम संकीर्तन की जय। श्री श्री राधा मदन गोपाल ललिता विशाखा देवी की जय। श्री श्री निताय गौर सुंदर की जय। शिल प्रभुपाद की जय। अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय। निताय गौर प्रेमानंदी हरि हरि बोल। ओम अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाखया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपः कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरोः श्रीयुतः पदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च। श्रीरूपां साग्रजातां सहगणा रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनासहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपदान् सहगणा ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च। हे कृष्ण करुणा सिन्धु दीनबन्धुर्जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कान्त राधाकान्त नमोऽस्तुते। तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा। Welcome everyone for tonight's special session entitled Are you all ready to be challenged? And this is not just about this evening. To attend this particular seminar also is kind of a challenge. You know, nowadays people, especially the youth, they are very much into taking up challenges like no booze challenge. Have you heard of that? They take these resolutions at least the beginning of the year, but then sometimes They get motivated by taking up some challenges, seeing someone, hearing someone, or sometimes realizing by one's own mistakes. No booze challenge, no smoke challenge. Mark Twain, talking about smoking, Mark Twain, he said, giving up smoking for me is the easiest thing. And I say that because I have done that innumerable times. Think about this. Now, this is Mark Twain. Whatever he says, you have to give it a second thought. Giving up smoking is the easiest thing, and he said that he has done it thousands of times. Which means that how many times we also experience these failures when we take up some kind of challenge in our life. There was a man, and he put up a challenge that if anyone can swim across my swimming pool, I'll donate half of my property. Now, what's the big deal about that? The big deal was that his swimming pool he had filled with crocodiles. And then he had put up this challenge. And there was one guy, somehow he swam across. And lo and behold, everyone who had assembled to witness this challenge, they were aghast that what a courageous man. But as soon as he reached the other end of the pool, he came out. And as everyone was congratulating, and this guy would put up this challenge, he was about to now felicitate this person. This person was not at all interested in all of that felicitation or any reward for that matter. He was only looking for that guy who pushed him in the pool. Who is that guy who pushed me in this pool? So sometimes challenges are not taken up by choice. Sometimes challenges we have to take up without any choice. So no booze challenge, no smoke challenge. Nowadays, you must have heard of no fap challenge. Not heard of that? You can Google it. Now, this particular statement, if you are the smartest person in the room, then you are in the wrong room. What do you understand by this? Well, this might sound a nice proposal that I am the smartest person in the room. What does this mean? It means that you haven't challenged yourself. If you are the smartest person in the room, which means you do not have another next opportunity to grow more than whatever smartness you have. Which means leave and get in the room where you can be challenged. हिंदी में कहावत है ना, अंधों में काना राजा. तो भाई राजा तो बन गया है, लेकिन वो स्वयं काना है, लेकिन प्रजा कौन है? सारे अंधे. तो कई बार होता क्या है कि हमारी ज़िंदगी में हम ऐसे लोगों से घिरे होते हैं, ऐसे लोगों में घिरे होते हैं कि हमें लगता है कि हम सबसे स्मार्ट हैं, हम इनके राजा हैं। लेकिन प्रजा कौन सी है? When I was in the Air Force playing professional tennis, so we were told by our coach, our team was told that if you want to really excel in this sport, I would dabble into chess also. Little bit of chess and tennis, considered to be some of my favorite sports. So both, whether it is chess or whether it is a sport like tennis, we were told that if you want to excel, then always choose an opponent to practice who is better than you. In fact, when I joined ISKCON Chopati in Mumbai, there maybe I was famous or infamous for always confronting challenging audiences. Somehow that would give me some kind of kick. Coming to Nasik audience is compared to what I had experienced audience in Mumbai. You're all like people from Satyuga. Very, kind of sobered up, mode of goodness, and, ready for whatever you have been told and expected from. I remember this one hostel I used to go, and even my fellow brahmacharis, they would wonder, what? You are going to this hostel in Churchgate? There was this hostel, government college hostel. And it was infamous for all kinds of, what is that word, rowdies. And even the students, just like some of you visit our temple, so just like you, the students who were like off and on visiting our ISKCON Chopati temple, even they would dread, and they would ask me that, you in these clothes, you dare to go to that hostel and on a regular basis, and that to give a talk? First of all, who comes? But yes, there were those kinds of people coming, sitting in the audience. I remember there was this one boy, and he was in the hostel, infamous for his confrontations. He was like the gang leader. And like something like this, after my talk, I opened up for questions. And this guy, he's not asking any question, but he had a comment. He said, according to my philosophy, everything culminates in bed. Imagine. According to my philosophy, everything finally culminates in bed, which means sex life. And everyone, they were like, wow, we have our guy also who can, speak up. And that too a philosophy. So I said, yeah, I also agree. According to our scriptures also. And everyone was looking at me, really? I said, yes, according to our scriptures. Everything finally culminates in this material world, in bed. But what kind of bed? Deathbed. Everything culminates in deathbed in this material world. So, therefore, my dear friends, always bear this in mind. If you are surrounded by rank and file people in your life, then know that you are not gaining the opportunity to grow. So, there is something called the comfort zone. How many of you have heard the comfort zone? And comfort zone is something, especially we in India, we are so much in love with our comfort zone. And we have built this comfort zone so comfortably, and I can use the word painstakingly. It might sound ironical. Painstakingly, we have built a comfort zone for ourselves. That somehow, like for a program like this, I'm sure that our organizing team must have really worked hard to whoever, like, all of you, you have gathered to somehow bring you out of your comfort zone to come for a program in the evening on a weekday. Imagine nowadays the traffic in Nasik, and that too summer season, no AC. For a talk, serious philosophical talk, comfort zone. Speaking of comfort zone, I always say, coffin, what a coffin is? Coffins are very comfortable. And in the West, they are these undertakers, and they have, these uh, funeral, what do you call? I've seen a funeral shop where everything about the funeral is being sold over there, especially these very costly, expensive coffins. So a coffin is made and looks very comfortable, but for whom? Dead bodies. A cocoon is very comfortable for a caterpillar. But is a caterpillar supposed to be always there in the cocoon? No, it is supposed to break out, come out. Harbors are very comfortable and safe for the ships. But are the ships supposed to be very comfortable and cozy and safely parked, docked at harbors? No, unless they take the challenge of entering the sea. Nowadays, a lot of discussion is going on about Strait of Hormuz. So the ships are supposed to get themselves challenged to enter the turbulent sea. Similarly, comfort zone, when people are too much into their comfort zone, it leads to crisis zone. Have you heard of this term, couch potatoes? So there are these people binge watching, whether it is Netflix or OTT, on their couches, and they become like potatoes because they keep munching on potato chips while watching. So their couch becomes their comfort zone, or allow me to use this word, their couches become their coffins. Very comfortable. But then leads to what? Obesity and so many other physical ailments. What to speak of the mental bombardment which they are having? Crisis zone. But in between the comfort and the crisis zone is the challenge zone. And that's what, my dear friends, we are here to discuss. So the question is, challenges, sometimes, this word challenge can be taken into a negative connotation. So the question over here is it friend or enemy? Let's see, let's find out. Unless your muscles are challenged, forget any muscle strength. How many over here you have been to gym regularly, at least for a while? How many still go? So you must have experienced going to gym. Like I have seen in these gyms, sometimes people, because there are so many mirrors, so most of the time people are simply admiring themselves in the mirror instead of working out, sweating out. So if you are not challenging your muscles, what is gymming? You are challenging your muscles. Forget any muscle strength. Unless your heart is challenged, as far as cardio is concerned, forget developing your stamina. Unless your brain is challenged, forget high IQ. According to the latest survey, because of smartphones and keypads and keyboards, we have lost touch with actual writing. And because of keypads, smart keyboards, autocorrects, auto spell, calculators, the IQ is going down. That's the latest survey. Sorry to break the unfortunate news, but that's the reality. Unless your character is challenged, forget any meaningful relationships. So basically, my dear friends, no challenge, no reward. No strength, no stamina, no intelligence, no meaningful relationships. Which means something without any challenge one person can achieve. What is that? Weak body, low IQ, fickle mind, shallow relationships. Now, the question is, what are we going to choose? Like they say, there are no free lunches in this world. कुछ करना है तो कुछ न कुछ त्यागना होगा. No gains without any pains. So, when we talk of challenge, there is a choice which we make every day, every minute. Just like you made a choice to challenge your laziness and bring yourself over here. You are challenging right now your fickle mind to focus on what I am saying. Is it not? You are challenging your intellect to not just focus on what I am saying, but also trying to understand what I am saying. It's a big challenge. It's a big challenge for me to make you understand the importance of challenge. Because sometimes we as speakers, we do not know what is going on in the minds of the audience. Sometimes they look at us, we speakers, with intentful eyes, and we think that they are understanding. Sometimes with unblinking eyes, और गर्दन भी हिलाते हैं, बोलते हैं समझ रहा है, और हमें लगता है कि हाँ शायद समझ रहा होगा. बट कई बार इस प्रकार के जो लेक्चर्स पता है कैसे होते हैं? इस प्रकार के लेक्चर्स होते हैं, कोई फॉरेन लैंग्वेज की मूवी कोई देख रहा है बिना सबटाइटल्स के. So choice and challenges. Now focus on the points which we'll be discussing. You might relate to these points. It might be something which will stir up some thoughtfulness within you. And let's see how much does it do that. When you choose to get up early in the morning, your tamogun and sleep will challenge you. Every morning, do we experience that? One student back in Mumbai, one engineering college where I was preaching, one student, he said, Prabhu, for me, my bed is like quicksand. दलदल होता है ना, दलदल. जितना कोशिश करो दलदल से बाहर निकलने का, दलदल क्या करता है? उतना ही अंदर की. तो उसने ये एग्जाम्पल यूज किया कि मेरा बिस्तर जो है ना, वो दलदल के समान. बहुत ट्राई करता हूं, क्योंकि हम लोग सुबह सुबह जपा सेशंस रखते थे, तो उसका ये एक्सक्यूज था कि मैं क्यों नहीं आ पा रहा हूं आपके जपा सेशन. इसलिए क्योंकि खींचता रहता है, मेरी गलती नहीं है. अब बिस्तर अगर क्विकसैंड दलदल की तरह है तो मैं क्या करूं? सो यस, वी एक्सपीरियंस एवरी मॉर्निंग, चाहे कितने भी अलग अलग प्रकार के अलार्म और स्नूज, ये जो जिसने आविष्कार स्नूज का किया है ना, सब उसको धन्यवाद देते हैं, कोटि कोटि उसके लिए प्रार्थना करते हैं. पहले अलार्म्स में स्नूज नहीं हुआ करता था, फिर सारे आलसी जो हैं, लेजी बोन्स, वो एक साथ आए और फिर उन्होंने ये डिस्कवरी, अलार्म जरूरी है, उठना तो है, लेकिन उसके अंदर ये स्नूज, ये उससे भी ज्यादा जरूरी. सो अवर तमोगुण एंड स्लीप विल चैलेंज अस. When you choose to take bath early, especially winter seasons, the cold climate will challenge you. मैंने तो देखा इस गर्मी में भी गर्म पानी से नहाते हैं लोग. एक मैं जब एयरफोर्स में था तो वहां पर अब ये सारे एक्सपीरियंसेस बहुत कॉमन थे, क्योंकि हम लोगों की उम्र क्या थी. मैं जब 17 साल का था तब एयरफोर्स, मेरे ख्याल से यहाँ पर कोई है 17 ईयर्स, एनीवन 17 साल का कोई है? तो सोचिए कि उस समय 17 साल की उम्र और सुबह के समय लेट तक सोना, और कौन सुबह 4:30 बजे उठ के नहाता है 17 साल की उम्र में? हाँ, किसी ने इस बात का एक्सपीरियंस किया है? सुबह 4:30 बजे उठ के नहाना है तो बहुत, तो बस केवल थोड़ा सा जो पानी है, वो पानी को हल्का सा स्पर्श करा लेते थे शावर के अंदर। तो फिर वहां पर होता क्या था कि कई लोग दिनों तक, हफ्तों तक नहीं नहाते थे। तो कुछ शेरो शायरी कंपोज कर ली थी इसके संदर्भ में, सुनना चाहेंगे? किसके संदर्भ में? नहाने के संदर्भ। तो अर्ज किया दलिद्रों ने, बुलंद हौसलों को आजमाना चाहिए। अभी तक अच्छा लग रहा है ना? बुलंद हौसलों को आजमाना चाहिए, मुश्किलों में मुस्कुराना चाहिए। बुलंद हौसलों को आजमाना चाहिए, मुश्किलों में मुस्कुराना चाहिए। 7 दिन तक यदि खुजलियां न जाए, 7 दिन तक यदि खुजलियां न जाए, तब आदमी को कम से कम नहा लेना चाहिए। और सच में ये हाल मैंने देखा है अपनी आंखों से। बाय द वे, मैं रोज नहाता था। इसी इंजीनियरिंग कॉलेज मुंबई में मेरे लेक्चर के बाद एक स्टूडेंट आया और उसने कहा, प्रभु जी थोड़ा प्राइवेट में आपसे बात कर। तो मैंने कहा ठीक है, कुछ बहुत ही कॉन्फिडेंशियल कुछ होगा, कुछ बहुत गहन बात होगी। तो प्राइवेट में बैठे उसके साथ लेक्चर के बाद। सो ही सेड, प्रभु आई हैव अ प्रॉब्लम, आई वांट टू कन्फेस समथिंग। And this is like top engineering college in Mumbai. So his confession was, I don't feel like taking bath. What to do? That was his problem. So my immediate, spontaneous question to him, when was the last time you took bath? And he said, Prabhuji, I don't remember. मैं थोड़ा पीछे हो लिया। And this guy, he had a serious problem. Imagine nowadays, and this is, I'm talking about 20 years ago. He had this serious problem that not having any desire to take bath. So yes, when you choose to take bath, you are challenged. When you choose to exercise every day, your lethargic body will challenge you. और कई लोग तो फिलॉसफीज लेकर आ जाते हैं। डॉक्टर कहते हैं टहलने से सेहत सुधरती है। डॉक्टर कहते हैं रोज टहलने से सेहत सुधरती है। अरे घोड़ों को देखो, जिंदगी भर दौड़ते रहते हैं, केवल 25-30 साल ही जीते हैं। और उसकी तुलना में कछुओं को देखो, कछुए मुश्किल से चल पाते हैं, 200 साल जीते हैं। तो क्या करना चाहिए? ऐसे फिलॉसफीज निकालते हैं। अब क्या बोलो इनको कि घोड़े की तरह दौड़ते रहो या कछुए की मौज की जिंदगी जियो, लंबी उम्र। When you choose to sit at one place and chant Hare Krishna or study, now this is something, सब गर्दन हिला रहे हैं। हाँ, पकड़ा, प्रभु जी ने भी पकड़ा। We were discussing just recently in one of the programs I was discussing that before coming to Krishna consciousness, before taking up this Japamala, we didn't even know that there is a mind within us which is supposed to be controlled. And after taking up the mala, or when you take up a book, और बोलते हैं ना, हमारे माँ बाप बुजुर्ग हमको क्या कहा करते थे पढ़ाई के सिलसिले में, क्या बोलते थे? ध्यान से पढ़ाई करो. How many times you have heard that? एक और, मन लगा के पढ़ाई करो. रिजल्ट्स आए ना अभी शायद, कि अभी तक आए नहीं रिजल्ट्स? तो ऐसे ही रिजल्ट्स निकले थे और ये लड़का फेल हो गया बोर्ड एग्जाम में, फेल. तो इसके पिताजी इसके कान मरोड़ के इसके पिताजी इसको कहते हैं, देख देख वो पड़ोसी कविता, देख उसको कितने मार्क्स मिले हैं. बार बार क्या बोल रहे थे? देख उस कविता को, देख उस कविता को. इसने कहा, पापा वही कर रहा था साल भर. उसी को ही देख रहा था. So when you sit to chant Hare Krishna, when you sit to focus on any subject, then we come to know how this fickle mind, it challenges us. Chanchalam hi manah Krishna pramati balavat dridham. And this is Arjun 5,000 years ago. He defined his fickle mind, giving his own example that Krishna, you are asking me to control my mind. Here is my mind for you. Chanchalam, Pramati, Balavan, Dridham. You ask me to control a raging wind? I can easily do that as a warrior. But my own fickle mind, no way. Then, when you choose to control your senses, the temptations of sense objects will challenge you. Especially, I have seen that when we are asked to not do something, coming to Krishna consciousness, when we are asked, the 4 regulative principles, no meat eating, no illicit sex, no gambling, no intoxication, तब फिर और मन करता है करने का. दिस इज व्हाट द माइंड इज, ह्यूमन माइंड इज. इट्स लाइक एक छोटे बच्चे को जब कोई बोल दे कि बेटा ये अलमारी कभी खोलना मत, बस बोला नहीं होता तो वो कभी नहीं खोलता. अब बोल दिया उसको, बेटा ये अलमारी कभी खोलना मत. अब उसके दिमाग में दिन रात क्या है इस अलमारी के अंदर, क्या है इस अलमारी के अंदर. So the moment we kind of choose or take a resolve to control our senses, the temptations of sense objects, sometimes they hound us and they present themselves with more attractions. It's a challenge. When you choose to follow something like Ekadashi, है ना, एकादशी के दिन ये सब कितने याद आते हैं. पानी पूरी हो गया, चाट हो गया, पाव भाजी, पिज्जा. I remember the first time when I attempted पांडव निर्जला एकादशी. अभी वो समर में ही आता है पांडव निर्जला एकादशी. And I said, okay, challenge. अलग अलग प्रकार के चैलेंज ना, जवान खून था तो इसलिए करते हैं. I was in Delhi, by the way. So I decided that I'll go to Vrindavan to perform the Pandava Nirjala Ekadashi. What could be a better place than that? And I remember in the month of June, scorchingly hot in Vrindavan. Whole day somehow, keeping myself busy. But the worst was the night, because you have to break your fast next day morning, the whole night. So I still remember the whole night, I was so parched. And the whole night I was tossing and turning. I couldn't sleep. But that's not all. The whole night I was just imagining all the water bodies which I had experienced in my life up until then. Every waterfall, every lake, every shower which I took, यहाँ तक कि कोई कुएं में भी जब मैं नहाने गया था वो भी याद आ रहा था कुआं. All water bodies. And it was challenging my desire, my choice of fasting from water on that day. When you choose to sit down to hear a pravachan, मन कर रहा होगा ना अभी, अरे भाई आधा घंटा हो गया, 35 मिनट हो गया, एक तो यार ये इन लोगों के लेक्चर में कोई चैनल भी चेंज नहीं कर सकते. एक ही चैनल है, रिमोट भी हाथ में नहीं है. Because we are used to so much what? Surfing. ये नहीं पसंद है, next one, next one, next one. बट ऐसे प्रोग्राम में जब आके और वो भी गलती से आगे बैठ जाओ तो अभी अगर उठ के जाएंगी तो बेइज्जती हो जाएगी. So desire for entertainment will challenge us. Now this is also something very, very serious. When you choose to get into a serious relationship, promiscuity, infidelity will challenge you. How many times nowadays, the social media पूरा भरा हुआ है इन सब से. In fact, the spicier these kind of programs which are being, displayed, people take more interest, and it's becoming so common. One lady in America, she married and divorced 14 times. क्या खिताब हासिल किया. So every time she had to go to get the marriage certificate, and then sometimes within a year she would go to the same office for divorce certificate. So the guy at that particular department got so frustrated, he issued a letter, a certificate to whomsoever it may concern. And there was a cartoon, very interesting cartoon, depicting life in the Western world. And of course now it's coming to India also. So the cartoon was, there is a man, there is a woman, and some kids are playing. So the caption of the cartoon was that the man is telling to this woman, pointing at the kids who are playing. The man is saying, honey, just see what a wonderful sight. Your children and my children are playing with our children. थोड़ा टाइम लगेगा समझने में. When you choose to go on spiritual yatras, है ना, हमारे सहस्त्र शीर्ष प्रभु लेकर जाते हैं. आप लोग जाते हैं कि नहीं जाते? लेकिन घर वाले क्या बोलते हैं? हाँ, बोले प्रथम इस उम्र में तुझे गोवा जाना चाहिए, तू बद्रीनाथ जा रहा है. मैं गया था गोवा प्रीचिंग के लिए मैंने. तो गोवा में अच्छा कांग्रीगेशन है, वहां पर बुलाया था प्रीचिंग के लिए. मुंबई एयरपोर्ट पर इसी ड्रेस में, तो फ्रिस्किंग करते हैं ना वो CISF के जवान, तो बंदा फ्रिस्किंग कर रहा था और बोर्डिंग पास देखा मेरा गोवा का, तो स्टैम्प करने से पहले उसने देखा, मेरी तरफ देखता है, वाह महाराज आप भी. तो पहले मुझे समझ में ही नहीं आया कि ये मतलब तंज किस बात के लिए तंज कस रहा है. फिर बाद में मैंने देखा अच्छा गोवा, तो आप भी गोवा. तो फिर मैंने बोला नहीं प्रचार के लिए. तो और हंसा, गोवा और प्रचार. So when you choose to go on spiritual yatras, your family members will challenge you. When you choose to donate for some spiritual cause, your selfish miserliness will challenge you. डोमिनोज में 300-400 का पिज्जा कुछ नहीं लगता, लेकिन मंदिरों का जो डोनेशन बॉक्स है ना, उसमें सबसे कम डिनोमिनेशन का करेंसी नोट्स रहते हैं. I read one anecdote that a 1 rupee note and a 500 rupee note were having a discussion. अभी तो नहीं है 1 rupee note, but imagine there was a time when there was a 1 rupee note also. So a 1 rupee note and a 500 rupee note were having a discussion. And the 1 rupee note told to the 500 rupee note that you want to know where I am found the most? In the temples. You might be in the wallets of big people, business magnates, but I am found in the donation box of temples of the Supreme Lord. So the 1 rupee note was kind of swelling in pride. But if you flip it around, there is a sarcasm in this. इसके अंदर एक तंज कसा गया है, और वो तंज क्या है कि ये दुर्भाग्य है कि जब मंदिर के लिए या किसी आध्यात्मिक कॉज के लिए, स्पिरिचुअल कॉज के लिए जब कुछ देना होता है, तो सबसे सड़े गले नोट बाहर निकलते हैं, और वो भी सबसे कम डिनोमिनेशन के. When you choose to associate with Vaishnavas or Krishna devotees, your mundane materialistic friends will challenge you. क्या हरे कृष्णा के प्रोग्राम में जा रहा है तू, या हरे कृष्णा के प्रोग्राम में जाता है रेगुलरली इस उम्र में? भाई इस उम्र में तो अभी रास्ते में हम लोग आए, और वो भी गंगापुर रोड और उसके पहले कॉलेज रोड, ये सब में सत्संग के लिए कौन जाता है? मेरा बचपन का क्लासमेट, उसको जब पता चला मेरा फोन नंबर कहाँ से उसको मिला 17 साल बाद, उसने कॉल लगाया. वो दिल्ली में था, मैं इस्कॉन चौपाटी। कॉल लगाया, पूछता है अरे सब लोग ढूंढ रहा है, पूरा क्लास ढूंढ रहा है तुझे, तू है कहां? तो फिर मैंने उसको कहा कि अब क्या बताऊं, लॉन्ग स्टोरी, कहां से शुरू करूं? तो उसने कहा तू मुंबई में है? मैं हाँ मैं मुंबई में। तो उसने कहा मैं मुंबई आ रहा हूं अगले हफ्ते, एड्रेस बता। तो मैंने एड्रेस बताया। एड्रेस वो लिख रहा था, राधा गोपीनाथ मंदिर, इस्कॉन चौपाटी। तो उसको लगा लैंडमार्क है। बोला आगे का एड्रेस क्या है? बोला नहीं यही एड्रेस है। तो एड्रेस में हम लिखते ना कि मंदिर के बगल में बिल्डिंग है जहां पे मैं रहता हूं, वो भी इस्कॉन मंदिर के बगल में, नेक्स्ट टू इस्कॉन टेम्पल। तो मेरा कुछ नेक्स्ट टू इस्कॉन टेम्पल नहीं था, इस्कॉन टेम्पल में रहता हूं। तो उसे समझ नहीं आया, उसे पता ही नहीं था कि हुआ क्या मेरे साथ ये सब कुछ। तो मंदिर में क्यों रह रहा है? उसे लगा शायद गेस्ट हाउस, 3 दिन कोई गेस्ट हाउस में रह रहा हुआ इस्कॉन के। बोला नहीं नहीं, परमानेंटली आ जा तू, तो अपने आंखों से देख ले, फिर बाद में बात करते। आया, उसने जब मुझे जैसे देखा, उसके हाथ में फ़ोन था, मेरे हाथ में भी फ़ोन था, मुझे ढूंढ रहा है, कहाँ है तू? मैं आ गया, एड्रेस जो दिया था उधर आ गया, तू कहाँ? मैं तेरे सामने ही खड़ा हूँ, फ़ोन पे बात कर रहा हूँ तेरे सामने। वो फ़ोन डिस्कनेक्ट नहीं कर पाया, जॉस ड्रॉप्ड, लुकिंग एट मी लाइक दिस, एंड हिज फर्स्ट रिएक्शन वॉज, अरे भाई तू ये MTV चैनल से आस्था चैनल कब बन गया? So yes, when we try to associate with Hare Krishna devotees in particular, then those friends will challenge us. And finally, when you choose to fully surrender to Sri Krishna, the inner doubts will challenge. That should I surrender? Should I not? Is it too early? Is it too much? या फिर थोड़ा थोड़ा, जैसे कबड्डी में है ना, टच करके वापस आ जाएंगे, पूरा अंदर घुसेंगे तो खींच लेंगे वो, इसलिए कबड्डी की तरह जाओ, थोड़ा सा अच्छा है। थर्सडे का प्रोग्राम होता है 15 दिन में एक बार, वो बस अटेंड करो, मस्त प्रसाद वसाद मिलता है, वहीं से पीछे बैठने का, प्रसाद खाने का, निकल जाने, ज़्यादा बातचीत नहीं करनी। हेयर स्टाइल चेंज हो जाती है, बहुत कुछ चेंज हो जाता है। सो चॉइस, when we speak of choice and challenges, my dear friends, so we have a choice to live a convenient life in our comfort zone, or we have a choice to challenge our own self and to challenge our comfort zone, and before it reaches the crisis zone, get into the challenge zone. So my dear friends, I'm going to present few examples from our Vedic scriptures of personalities, how they use their choice muscles, especially when they had to choose between convenience and challenge in their life. So the first example is Brajbasis, residents of Vrindavan. So for them, the convenient thing was to perform Indra Yajna. And it was Krishna who, from that convenient, comfortable zone of every year performing Indra Yajna, Krishna challenged them to perform Govardhan Puja. And because the Brajvasis, they chose to perform Govardhan Puja that year, not going with the convenience of Indra Yagya. They had to face a lot before they got the mercy of Sri Govardhan and also Krishna along with Sri Govardhan. And till date, we celebrate Govardhan Puja because the Brajavasis, they chose to take up the challenge. The next example is of Rukmini. There was convenience in front of Rukmini to marry Shishupal and then marry Krishna. That was a challenge because it was like how in Bollywood movies ना कि पूरा समाज विरोध कर रहा है, दोनों परिवार वाले विरोध कर रहे हैं, लेकिन हम डटे रहे, हमारा प्यार अमर है. Something like that. But Rukmini, it is said that in our ears, एक कान में शिशुपाल ऑफर देगा और एक कान में गोपाल ऑफर देंगे. हमको अब चूज करना है कन्वीनियंटली शिशुपाल के साथ या चैलेंजिंग एंड गेटिंग कृष्णा और गोपाल. that was Rukmini. The next example is Dhruva Maharaj. The convenience was to stay home and enjoy the royal luxury of his father. But he took up the challenge that no, I want to get a kingdom greater than my great grandfather. And what to speak of that, in 6 months, when he took up that challenge, he had darshan of the Supreme Lord. Until date, we have what? Dhruva Loka, because of the challenge he took over the convenience. Arjun, Narayani Sena, the famous pastime of Duryodhan and Arjun, both they approached Krishna before the war of Kurukshetra. And Duryodhan thought that Arjun was a fool in choosing the non-fighting Krishna. And Duryodhan thought, I am the clever guy who chose the Narayani Sena. तो भगवान श्री कृष्ण ने अर्जुन को और टेस्ट किया और अर्जुन से कहा, थोड़ा सा तंज कसते हुए अर्जुन से कहा, जब दुर्योधन नारायणी सेना ले गया मांगकर, तो भगवान अर्जुन से कहते हैं, अर्जुन तू तो मेरा दास बन गया रे, कृष्ण दास बन गया. भगवान ने कहा अर्जुन से, कृष्णदास तू रहेगा उदास, माखन तो ले गया दुर्योधन, तेरे हिस्से में केवल बची कोरी छास. तो अर्जुन ने जब ये सुना तो अर्जुन भी कुछ कम नहीं था. अर्जुन ने कहा, कृष्णदास आपका कभी नहीं रहेगा उदास. माखन लेकर मैं क्या करता जब माखन चोर है मेरे पास. So he had the choice of conveniently getting the Narayani Sena, but on the other hand he took up the challenge of having the non-fighting Krishna, who took a vow that I am not going to lift a single weapon, I'll be only your charioteer, Sarthi. We have Prahlad, who had the choice of conveniently taking over the kingdom of Hiranyakashipu, who was that time ruling the entire planet, just making Hiranyakashipu happy. But he stood by his principles of bhakti of Vishnu. Mother Sita, She had the convenience that when she was kidnapped, the offer was there. The entire Lanka, Ravan was Lankesh, and Sita could have become the foremost queen of Ravan, which means she would have the sovereignty of the entire golden Lanka. No, but she chose what? Loyalty towards Shri Ram. So that was the challenge, and that's how we have the entire Ramayana. Some of the acharyas on Ramayana, they say that it is pronounced not like Ramayana but Ramayana. It is the journey of Rama, which means Sita. Another name of Sita is Rama. And finally, we have our Srila Prabhupada. For him, the choice was to conveniently spend his retired life in Vrindavan. He was that time 69 years old, and nobody would leave Vrindavan. Wow. And that too, to go to America with nothing. If it was not for Srila Prabhupada who took this challenge of leaving Vrindavan and going to America and starting ISKCON, we wouldn't be having this program tonight. Thanks to Srila Prabhupada taking up that challenge. So, my dear friends, coming back to our topic of are you all ready to be challenged? So, we will be challenged. We are being challenged externally by our senses and internally by our mind. If you are not ready to be challenged, you are not ready to be changed. Run from challenge, stay the same, rise to the challenge, rewrite your name. इसलिए अंत में मैं यही कहना चाहूँगा, मंजिलें तो हम पाकर रहेंगे, भले ही लड़खड़ा कर ही सही। कायर तो वो हैं जो घर से कभी निकले ही नहीं। Which means, unless you take challenge in your life, unless you challenge yourself, unless you challenge your own existing capacity, unless you challenge your own mental, intellectual capacity, you won't be achieving anything more in your life than what you are. So therefore, my dear friends, the take home message for all of you is that slide you remember, no challenge, no reward. And whatever you must have achieved up until now in your life, that also, if you look back and try to connect with tonight's talk, you might have achieved whatever you have achieved because you challenged yourself, because someone inspired you to take up the challenge. And taking up Krishna consciousness is, according to me, it has been now 3 decades for me. 3 decades ago, when I took up to Krishna consciousness, and now down the line, 3 decades down the line, I will tell you from my own experience, taking up to Krishna consciousness, taking up this challenge, my dear friends, is worth it. Thank you all very much. Hare Krishna. Anyone has any challenging questions?
I have one question. So, talking about the youth in today's life, so what should a youth do when he starts facing challenges between building up his career goals and also practicing bhakti at the same time. I was talking about working hard for the goals, the outside environment. So there, the definition of success is like you should have a good amount of money and status in the society. But coming back to the Rajasthan principles, teaches us about that simple living and mindful. So how should a youth should prepare his mind and should balance it?
Balancing between career development and character development. Because Krishna consciousness means developing one's own character. We were talking about Arjun. If I asked you this question, or if you ask this question to any youth, Arjun was young, he was a young warrior. And why did Krishna choose Arjun as the recipient of Bhagavad Gita? Because he was young. He was a celebrated warrior. He was not just, any foot soldier in the Pandava Sena. He was the most accomplished, आज की भाषा में बोले धुरंधर. He was the most accomplished Dhanurdhar and Dhurandhar. He was a family man. He was a husband. He was a father. He was a brother. He was very much man, as they say, of this real world. And for Arjun, during his entire career, if we use this word, since we have asked that question about career, in the entire career life of Arjun, the most, you can say that, deciding war for him to fight was this Kurukshetra war. Which means, like the most coveted of all opportunity for Arjun to exhibit his career skills. And that time he took aside he kept aside his bow and arrow, and he took aside some time to listen to Bhagavad Gita. So Arjun is a classic example wherein he is balancing. It's not that after the Bhagavad Gita, Arjun told to Krishna, "Oh, what a pravachan, Krishna. I just loved the way you spoke. What examples, what shlokas, what delivery. Chalo, come on, let's have prasad now. And let's go home." Immediately after hearing the Bhagavad Gita, he picked up his Gandiva bow. And what did he say? Nashtamoha smritir labdva tvat prasadat mayachita stitosmi gata sandeha karishye vachanam tava. That, my dear Krishna, now I will do what you say. Which means his career went on another level after he took out time to listen to the Bhagavad Gita. So just like Bhagavad Gita made the already accomplished Arjun into a Dhurandhar Arjun, similarly, even in this day and age, whatever we are trying to accomplish as far as career is concerned, if we know the answer to why am I behind this career, that's what Arjun got the answer to. Why am I fighting this war? He didn't ask the question to Krishna, how should I fight the war? He asked the question, why should I fight the war? So when you know the answer to the why questions in regards to your career, and that you will come to know only here. So that will be the best way by which we can balance our career, and not just balance, but we will use the spiritual knowledge of Bhagavad Gita to become a more accomplished professional person in this world. Just like Arjun was a professional warrior, he became the best of the warriors after equipped with not just the knowledge of archery, but the knowledge of Bhagavad Gita. Yeah. You may have to speak loudly. Yes, Bhagavad Gita talks about the eternality of soul. But then, even after understanding and knowing that soul is eternal, when our near and dear ones are about to leave us, we get affected. Arjun, after hearing the entire Bhagavad Gita, when the war began and when Arjun lost his son Abhimanyu, Arjun lamented. Krishna didn't tell to Arjun that इतना सुनाया तुझको कि शरीर नहीं आत्मा है, हाँ, ये सब कुछ सुनने के बाद रो रहा है. See, we have to understand that when it comes to human emotions, the human emotion is a very natural way by which we express our love towards our near and dear ones. So when someone leaves, so we are not lamenting for just the material body, but we are actually lamenting for the wonderful association which we had through that body of that soul of the person. So a self-realized knower of Bhagavad Gita, when laments for one's near and dear ones, so that lamentation is also meaningful lamentation. Therefore, in our Vaishnav tradition, we call it Viraha Utsav. We have, Narottam Das Thakur, who has composed the song Jayanilo Premadhana, which means, lamenting for Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, for Nityanand Prabhu, for the associates, that they are no more present physically now to get their association. So that lamentation is not mundane, that lamentation is not on a bodily platform. Like I said, that it is that association, meaningful association which we were getting from that person. And now the conduit to get that association was the physical body, which is no more existing now, is lost. So it's the lamentation for that. So basically, it's not materialistic, but it is filled with sentiments. Imagine You know, if we are attending our own funeral, this is a weird imagination, but imagine you are attending your own funeral and people have assembled and nobody is crying. How will you feel? कोई रो ही नहीं रहा है और सब लोग घड़ी देख रहे हैं कब निकलना है, कब निकलना है. And your soul is witnessing your own funeral. अरे मतलब किसी को कोई फर्क ही नहीं पड़ा मैं मर गया या मैं मर गई. Which means that we ourselves, we can feel that someone else values me when someone says na that I miss you. बोलते हैं ना, in love they use this a lot. I miss you. But what kind of missing is that? Not, there was this guy and his wife had gone to her parents' home and he was having a party. और उसने क्या किया था, डार्ट बोर्ड पर डार्ट बोर्ड में अपनी पत्नी का फोटो लगा लिया था एंड ही वाज थ्रोइंग डार्ट्स. दैट टाइम हिज वाइफ कॉल्ड, हनी व्हाट आर यू डूइंग? तो डार्ट बोर्ड फेंकते हुए, मिसिंग यू. So we are not talking about that missing. We are talking about when actually someone is missing, which means that that person is experiencing the presence in the absence. That's called Vipralamba Bhav. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came to give us Vipralamba Bhav, which means this emotion of missing the beloved. That's Vipralamba Bhav. Anything else? जय शिल प्रभुपाद की जय, अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय, निताय गौर प्रेमानंदी हरि हरि बोल.